Drawing Lesson 15, Determining Line Weight. Determining line weight. The concept of line weight thrives under well-applied principles of unity and variety. The old masters varied the lightness and darkness of a line to convey a sense of going or coming in space, to generate a feeling of movement, and establish a focal point. When the line weight in a drawing is not varied, it's as if the artist is talking in a monotone voice. It's easy as a beginner struggling to find proportion to let your outlines get too heavy and dark. As you struggle for certainty, the contour can get thicker and darker. Sometimes the line gets so thick that it can start to throw off the overall proportion. It takes very little to distort a subject that has a small margin for error. With figure drawing in particular, a fraction of an inch here or there can make the difference between accuracy and deformity. Like a dark line, a closed, continuous line can easily become locked in and hard to correct. Both types of line convey an emphatic statement, a certitude. They tell the viewer that the drawing is sound and accurate. A locked-in drawing, it's frozen into a single moment. Many beautiful drawings are created in this way, but using these kinds of lines successfully requires uncanny accuracy unless you're specifically aiming for whimsy or mannerism. The natural forms found in plants, such as this branch of a willow tree, provide ample opportunity to study the concepts of negative shape, contour line, rhythm, and line weight. The sharpest and sharpest marks are accent points that draw the eye. By comparison, a line that's broken and searching is already in a state of flux, making it easier for both artist and viewer to see the possibility for improvement. It breaks into a series of segments that can be looked at independently and assessed for accuracy. Remember that something can be technically correct, yet said in a way that makes it appear untrue. For example, a line can be well placed but still be unbelievable because it's too dark. Strive to have your intention align with your expression. I recommend making all your lines light and thin at the beginning of a drawing. If you're having a hard time doing that, switch to a harder pencil or charcoal. Use multiple thin lines to find your drawing rather than one thick one. Get comfortable with ambiguity. Leave gaps in your contour line, remember that's your outline, if you're not sure how something connects. It's not necessary to have all your lines come together, especially when you're in an ambiguous area of work. Once you're confident that your overall drawing is accurately in place, darken lines in areas that require a more emphatic statement, a harder edge, or a thicker mark. The concept of lost and found edges relates to line weight. Imagine a spectrum of lost and found edges, much like a value chart that ranges from white to black. The area of a drawing that is sharpest or darkest draws the eye most clearly to itself. It becomes a focal or accent point. By comparison, a lost edge, meaning where it just disappears and you don't see that hard, stark line, the drawing just kind of disappears into nothingness. It creates an atmosphere and allows for ambiguity. It moves behind and away from us. It adds variety and interest. In this drawing, it offers an excellent example of how line weight and lost and found edges can lead the viewer's eye. Here he uses the limited means of pure line to full effect. The image is anchored by the darker accents in the facial features, and as your eye moves away from the girl's eyes toward the ear, and then to the back of her head, the line becomes very thin and light. As your eye moves down the shirt, the line dissolves entirely, fading out to the paper tone. In this manner, we as viewers know exactly where to look. This sensitivity in the handling of the line captures the tenderness or emotion between the artist and his daughter. I recommend locating two edges, one very sharp and the other very soft, as points of comparison for the other edges in a drawing. As you work on a piece over time, your eye acclimates and it can become hard to see the differences. To correctly judge, I need to compare one edge to another. I flick my eye quickly from an edge I'm drawing to one I've chosen for comparison, and this way I establish a consistency throughout the drawing. So for your assignment today, create a drawing that shows the full spectrum for line weight. I want to see dark, solid, and sure lines that focus the viewer's attention on one side of the drawing, and I want the contour easing into soft, short sketch lines on the other side of the spectrum. Use the Abigail Rose drawing for reference on what I'm looking for.